Welcome everyone to Generation Dan. I am Dino the Genetic Marvel, and I'm here with.
I am Atlas Novak, and this is my natural bedhead that you can't see because you're listening to this for whatever reason.
And our guest host is.
I'm Caleb McDuff, and I'm cosplaying as a guy with a tiki torch. Let's go. You know what I'm saying.
That's unfortunate. Oh, man.
I know, it's have an unfortunate face, but I have to call it out, otherwise someone else will do it for me, and just got to get ahead on that one.
So I noticed
that's how you fight it.
When you've been on this show before, the camera's like looking down on you. Now it's looking up at you.
Yeah, well, I got a different little. I'm in a different area right now. This isn't my normal setup. This is my mobile setup.
Ah, okay. Nice.
So I'm on the move at the moment, but
on the move from the authorities because you were in the Capitol on January 6th. Is that
well? Here's the thing. Like, if I say anything about it, then I could have a whole slew of problems, and I'm not even worried about the courts because I got to sniff a chair, and I honestly could go to prison for the rest of my life happy, so I don't care about that. I'm more worried about the Twitter mob. I'm more worried about the Facebook police. I'm more worried about the Instagram armies. I'm worried about the war of the internet and the digital age because that's the only threat that I perceive. Otherwise, no, I got my nose in there. We'll just say that.
Okay. Just for people who got pissed off, he's not actually like shithead white supremacist. He's completely kidding. Like, I swear there's going to be at least one listener who's like, you had a white supremacist on?
I know. Do I need to come with like a warning label or like a little like icon at the bottom, just like flashing, just like?
I think
he's almost clear.
It's kind of important for Caleb, like for people who look like you and I, to just be like, okay, I am pro-choice. There's got to be like a you kind of have to show your credential.
Well, I don't know about Los
5
Angeles.
Years or so have been pretty.
Yeah. Oh yeah, white people have had it down bad, and honestly, we deserve it. But here's the thing: is that totally people have been putting badges up for a long time, like in front of their houses and stuff. Like, you ever see those, like, in this house we believe love is love, Black Lives Matter, everyone is equal, like all that. Like, people have been wearing badges for years because they know that the revolution's coming, and it's basically just like painting like ghost blood on your door for the freaking rapture or whatever it is. Like, everyone knows.
Lamb's blood, sir. Okay,
or lamb's blood.
Your
Sorry.
history correct.
Sorry. My religious allegory is a little bit historically inaccurate, but I think...
How dare you? Religion is pure. I couldn't even get through that with a straight face. We're talking about censorship, if anyone didn't realize already.
Hey, that's why we had to get edgy at the top.
Edgy at the top.
We got to come in hot if we're going to talk about this. So,
well, okay, so here, let me ask you guys a question, because realistically, I'm the size of a large farm animal, so people don't confront me on a regular basis. But I do look fair, like, especially like midwinter, where the sun is the least. I look like a white guy. No.
Oh, okay.
The sun is the least. That's
the sun
a great.
Is the least.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to start saying that. Like, where they're like, it gets dark so early. The sun is the least, you guys. It's just how it is. Take an hour off the day. That's what happens. Sorry, everybody.
It's just science. But that's so. If I'm outside, like, I get a tan very quickly, and I'm like, I pass for as European, if not Greek, directly, right?
Yeah.
But for you guys, where like realistically, you touch sunlight and burst into flames, very likely, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, I got what's called mealworm epidermis, which basically just means that like everything is like the same consistency of like a cave insect. Like on the outside, because I never see the sunlight.
My spirit animal is the parasitic lamprey for multiple reasons.
So,
yeah, they don't come up from the depths of the ocean. Yeah, you get it. All right. Yeah, we burn very easily for sure.
Okay, but have you ever been in a situation where someone they're so white? So
I know it's literally funny just looking at me.
It's like I was very fair skinned for my family. Everyone else tanned a lot faster, and my one brother actually passes for somebody from Southeast Asia. Like, he actually looks that. Yeah, he's quite dark. Wow. It's from my mom's side. Her sister is the same way, but my mom is very fair skinned, like I am. So it was always weird because I was not only bigger than everyone, but I would stand out in that way. So my question is to you guys: have you ever been in a situation where you're like, I have to pretend to not be super, 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 super white? Like, where someone has come up to me and said something, and I'm like, are you talking to me? No, I'm Greek. I am a Greek man. And then they're like, oh, sorry. And I'm like, It's okay.
Well, here's the
do your thing. Have something to eat.
I don't know if you could see by my beard, but I am literally every tone of Scandinavian that is possible. I have like pale white here, dirty blonde here, ginger down here, dirty blonde up here, these pale baby blue eyes right here. Like I can't hide.
Me neither. It's like brown and red and blue eyes. Yeah, it's
like the most time. Like I can't say that I've ever like had to like conceal my whiteness because that's just a losing battle. I moonlight as a disco ball, but like what I have had to do.
These are episode titles galore. Yeah,
oh, yeah I know.
I had to. So I lived in Hawaii for a few months.
Really?
Because my dad lives out there.
Nice.
He is in a state housing in Hawaii, and let's just say the walls are thick. And he's in prison. And
got it.
Yes, but like when I lived out there, it was really bizarre because like so the actual living situation in Hawaii. Like I don't know if you guys have ever been to like the neighborhoods or even been to Hawaii.
I've been in Hawaii, but not the neighborhoods.
So there's like the resorts. And there's the places where people live, and because the cost of living is so extremely high in Hawaii, everywhere that you live in Hawaii is pretty, one, it's pretty homogenous, and two, it's like pretty like low income, and they don't really see like tourists that much because no one goes over there. But I was living over there, and I remember like I would like be hanging out with my cousins and their friends, and they're just like, "You were the whitest human being I've ever seen in my entire life." Like they were looking at me like I wasn't even real, like I just came out of like a box, and like I was about to birth smaller, whiter versions of me or something. Like I was made out of porcelain. They're just like, "How do you go outside? Like, are you alive?"
And you're just like, kinda.
They're like, I can literally see blood moving through your forehead. Like,
oh man.
Yeah, like I know in my case, I'm better off either pretending to be Canadian in like Dino or Nick, or I like throw on my terrible Irish accent and hope nobody notices.
I was gonna say, terrible.
Yeah.
It is
if
terrible.
I have to pull out an accent, I can go Scandinavian. I can go northern England. I can go Scotland.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she's migrating. Oh, look at Nessie over on the water there. Oh, I'm going to invite you into my little cottage, and I'm going to give you a piece of haggis. You like that?
See, my Irish accent only works around Americans.
It passes.
They're so terrible at acknowledging people outside their own country that it just they'll kind of take it at face value.
Yeah,
and yeah.
Mine
see what I mean? Like it's not great. Yeah.
No, neither of those were. They really weren't. No, you know what though? Like in America, full pass, no question.
No one's paying attention. Yeah.
Like even in Canada, people be like, "The fuck is this guy doing?"
Yeah.
Like that would not.
Yeah, but that's not where I need to do it. I need to do it in the U.S.
Oh, specifically in LA. Like, let's be honest.
In Canada, I just blend. I just blend in Canada, especially if it's snowing outside. Invisible.
Yeah, you and me both.
Yeah.
You and I definitely work in colder environments, I think.
Yeah, even though I don't like it, I hate the cold.
Oh, I love the cold. Trade with you.
Yeah, great.
Hey, if Denver has a good comedy scene, let me.
It does. You ever been to Comedy Works?
No.
Oh, dude, Comedy Works is like one of the biggest clubs in the country, man. Come on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like probably like the Store, the Cellar, Comedy Works.
Oh,
wow,
that's cool. I was on Roast Battle at the Store this last week, and
nice.
Dino watched it, and it was pretty bad because it was my first time doing it. And
did you get eviscerated?
They were both dressed like slam poets.
We were both terrible. That's my normal clothing. It's
straight out of the coffee shop open mic.
Yeah.
Listen, but Atlas has explained multiple times that when he first started doing comedy, that he wasn't old enough to go into a bar. So it's like, hey, your adolescent identity, fashion-wise, may have been influenced by a bunch of slam poets. Just gonna tell you there, Atlas. Just so you know.
But the problem is that like. It's cold, and they keep it cold in there because they, comedy works better in cold spaces. So, the sweater was kind of necessary. I think what I should have done is buttoned up the sweater, and that was because otherwise it looked like a weird, like goth cape or something, just like a set. Okay. Not goth like gothic. I mean, literally the goth from your high school.
Okay.
You really did.
It's good that you clarified that because I'm picturing like Mr. Rogers if the neighborhood went to shit.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it was just a black sweater.
Think the transition from like normal Santa to like hot, sexy Santa that we now have. Okay, have you seen pictures of Hot Sexy Santa?
I have not seen pictures of Hot Sexy Santa.
Okay, I will say we have one at a fancy mall right by my house.
Hold on, Atlas, throw a Christmas hat on, then we have it right here.
It's well, that's the thing.
Before and after right here.
It's definitely like Atlas. I forgot what it was.
I definitely look like Santa in his 20s before, like in the beginning of the biopic, before he like realizes his calling as Santa. Like the first scene where he's like, I don't know, toy maker or something, and then he's like, "What if I do this for everybody?"
Let's go back to the fact that you said biopic instead of biopic.
Yeah, is this like a medical procedure, bro?
No, that's just...
Gotta put something in my urethra? I'm uncomfortable now.
Tomato, I guess.
Tomato?
Biopic, like, you know...
Biopic is not the word, sir. That is... Especially you... Okay, Alice has gone through and edited stories that I've written, and he's like, he tears them apart, and he's like, this is what, you know... He's educated in this way. And I'm like, my English is horrible. It's my grammar is ridiculous, but yeah, biopic is not the word, sir. Okay.
I wonder if biopic is a word that means something else. I want to know now.
I mean, myopic is a word, but biopic, no. I think it's just like, I don't know. That's just what people say around here in LA, and then it's become part of my vocabulary. Which, by the way,
you got that. Okay.
For a while, Dino and Nick made me start saying "oots" instead of "outs." Dickholes. They like influence the way I pronounce the word, and people are like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Nope, just hanging around Canadians every week." So
that will do it.
Yeah,
that will do it. That's only fair.
At least you don't put like S's on the end of a bunch of things.
What do you mean?
Some Canadian, I can't remember what region of Canada does that, but like they put S's at the end of a lot of their words.
Well, I bet it's not French Canada because the French hate the letter S for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Albert Camus.
That's true. They don't even say it.
They'll
write it because they like the curvy, but
they don't pronounce the S unless it's at the end of a word and the next word is a vowel. So like mes amis, because they don't have like a glottal stop where. Sorry, wow. I took 2 years of French.
I was going to say, Homeboy's been on Duolingo, dude. He's been popping off trying to show off.
I took 2 years of French in college, and that's all I remembered. So,
okay.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
I took Dothraki on Duolingo.
Here. Just so you guys can see what we have to do with that as Fancy Santa, okay?
Okay.
Is that David Letterman?
No.
That doesn't look like him.
That's Fancy Santa.
Nice.
Santa.
Fancy Santa. What were we talking about before the biopic thing?
Censorship?
I think that was
and hiding your whiteness.
Get away back to it.
Hiding
censoring our own whiteness for the sake of the world.
We can't, and we just kind of have to acknowledge that white people suck and try our best not to be one of those. And
see, I'm finding that people suck in general.
Oh yeah,
right?
definitely.
It's like historically, sure, a lot of that falls in the white category. There's no question there. But like a lot of people are just garbage these days, right?
I'm finding that
I don't think people ever stopped being garbage.
Oh yeah,
also possible.
Yeah,
I think I'm finding that like I guess white people are finally starting to come around and realize that white people have been doing a lot of shitty shit for a long time. But I think everyone else is just kind of like maybe white people just need to shut the fuck up for a while.
We do.
Because now it's just like all the white people are like, I am so sorry for what my ancestors did to you, and they're just like, dude, like what are you helping right now? You know what I mean?
Oh, just you know what? We watched Red Notice the other night, and we were thinking the only thing my wife kept on bringing up was how the woman in Red Notice, the one who did the Imagine video.
Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman.
Gal Gadot, yeah. And she was like, "I can only picture her from that now, and this is ruining the movie for me." I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds fair."
Oh yeah, that's definitely been a thing.
What?
I have this problem with seeing comedians in any like non-comedy role.
Yeah.
And like
few can make that transition.
Yeah. The example I always bring up is in the Little Women movie from a couple of years ago, where their dad comes home from the Civil War and it's Bob Odenkirk, and you're like, "You're Mr. Show. I can't. I'm sorry." That would be like I like Kumail Nanjiani too. I can't watch Eternals because I'm like, dude, it's the guy from Silicon Valley. Or I'm just waiting for Hannibal Buress to try and do Like it doesn't
Equalizer. He should do Equalizer. Yes.
Like he's in the Marvel movies already. He's the gym teacher in the Spider-Man movies, but that's a comedy role. You know what I mean? Like that's completely understandable.
Yeah, like Kevin. Well, so Kevin Hart's done a few movies that are more serious, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which did I see one of them? I want to see the one where he's with the guy from Breaking Bad.
What, Bryan Cranston? Or
yeah, he's with Bryan Cranston. Who other guy from Breaking Bad would he be with?
Aaron Paul.
Aaron Paul, who played Jesse. Those are the two.
He's not
guys.
a real person, though. Like, come on.
That's true.
He's even smaller than Kevin Hart.
He's from Wyoming.
Maybe a Lego figure.
I didn't know that. That's cool. I know that's like watching Young Adult with Charlize Theron and Patton Oswalt. It still takes me out of it a little bit. Like it's supposed to be a comedy drama, but he plays himself, so it works a little bit better.
Yeah.
Where it's just kind of like, I'm a complete nerd. Here's my action figures and shit like that. And I smoked a lot of weed. Cool. Great. Awesome. You're Patton.
He's so many people, let's be honest. Like
yeah, that's true.
That is people's identity across the
I think animated movies are also pretty good at that. Where just it's the person's voice and that's it.
Yeah.
Speaking of Patton.
Yeah.
Ratatouille, that works really well.
Yeah.
I feel like honestly, like cartoons just give a lot of freedom also because you automatically have that installed like suspension of disbelief or whatever because it's it's animated. So I think you can
get away with a lot more just because of how you can position stuff. Like it's obviously meant to be ridiculous. It's obviously meant to be a joke. Whereas when it's live action, people don't necessarily convey those emotions properly. Which there's a lot of movies like that.
Yeah. I just watched House of Gucci last night.
Oh, how was that?
That movie just came out. I think it was all right. I think the writing could have used a little bit of work just because it felt like a slog for 3 hours, and also it kind of just makes you hate everybody. So I don't really know who you're supposed to root for. I guess that's kind of the point because everybody in the movie is just kind of like a shithead.
Yeah.
So I guess the whole point was just to be like, here's the thing that happened. It's dramatic. And it's like, okay. But then you just kind of leave the movie being like, I don't really... Like, was this a history class? Was this a documentary? I don't know. Was it a drama? I don't know. Adam Driver's great. I like him. Handsome man.
No, that's not accurate.
He's got Abraham Lincoln level cheekbones though. That guy.
His presidential face.
Yeah. Abraham Lincoln and his cheekbones. We're now about to take on Jefferson Davis and his cheekbones.
Just butterfly kiss each other to win the Civil War, or what?
Please tell me. You guys know who Oversimplified is, right? The YouTuber.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's from.
Oh, that's a reference. Cool.
Yeah, it's a reference.
You guys know a lot about your own history, which is great.
Yeah.
Like, you asked me who the last 6 prime ministers of Canada would be. I'd be like, I don't know. I got nothing.
It's like Justin Trudeau like 4 times, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
To your credit,
he's gorgeous. There's no question there, but at the same time,
man.
He's not. There hasn't been a skilled politician in office in a very long time in lots of countries, not just Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think Canada's just trying to emulate the U.S. and that they only want to elect hot people. I mean, that's why do you think we got Joey B in office, man? You see that form?
I think.
See the way he falls down those stairs, the way that Tushy comes up.
Do you think that? Trump wasn't. Trump was the like ugly rebound from.
Oh yeah,
Obama.
He
was the dirty mess.
He was the rebellious phase for sure.
It's like
a good thing ended. A good thing ended with Obama, and then America went to our hoe phase with Donald Trump, and now we're just kind of trying to recover and be a grown up again a little bit.
And then,
maybe overcorrected.
But yeah, we maybe overcompensated
a little. And then
we're
going to go into full-on fascism, so that's cool.
It's about that. Listen, the funny thing is that growing up, when I grew up, like it was important that you learned history, right? The problem was I didn't learn till probably in my 20s that the history I was taught was very one-sided.
And very incomplete and very boringly taught, so you wouldn't really absorb anything.
Absolutely, very true. And now you're finding out that like there's there are numerous atrocities that have happened in history that people are like, so there was once people there, then there weren't. Next, and you're like, that's a 10-year gap that we're just going to pass by. And
you've just summarized the American public education system in a nutshell, dude.
Yeah,
Canadian too,
apparently.
And that's the funny thing is that now, so this is something that I've found hilarious is that if you go back, just the in the calendar 100 years ago, you're seeing that a lot of similar booms and valleys and cautionary events are coming up again and again and again in similar fashion, in comparable timelines, and you're like, this is not making me happy. Not making me happy at all, because obviously for me, I'm like, I just start reading going, this is bad.
The Tulsa Race Massacre, which I didn't learn until like 2 years ago. And
I don't even know what that is.
All right, so 1921 in Tulsa, Oklahoma, it was called Black Wall Street because it was like a booming black community in that area.
Oh.
And then a bunch of white people came up and burned the whole fucking place down.
Wow.
And I did not learn about it until I was an adult, because in school, they were like, all right, 1914 to 1918, some guy gets shot in Europe, and then the whole world erupts into war. We didn't show up until 1917, but we're not going to say that. We're going to imply that we were there from the beginning. Cool. Gas masks and trenches and trench foot and horses, kind of, but not quite, and gas, and we're done. Okay, now we're going to skip ahead to 1929 when the Great Depression happened. I'm like, there's just nothing between... Yeah. No? Okay. And I feel like they don't talk about the 1918 flu, which is especially pertinent now. And also, the Tulsa Race Massacre, and then all this other stuff that I'm probably forgetting and is about to be, like, we're in the last scene of the movie Coco, where he's about to fade into dust, about the horrible racist
about
atrocities.
Genocides and atrocities and war crimes.
Stuff that happens in the U.S. and I'm assuming Canada during that time, but no, we have to play Remember Me.
That frail little Uncle Sam just slowly withering away as the memory of atrocity just slowly escapes
By the way,
mind.
Don't look in my basement. Lots of dead people. Later! You're like, what?
Class, if we can open your textbooks to the Christopher Columbus section and read paragraph 1. It says, it's really cool that he just found this place, and he showed up on the land, and he called dibs, and apparently everyone was just cool with it.
Yeah, that's like the equivalent of when you're feeling down on yourself in like your office jobs, you go read old emails you sent to people, and you're like, man, that was so well worded. I did such a good job. Have you ever done that when you're like having a bad day? You're just like, oh,
I got skills.
I got skills. I'm well worded. I'm.
Yeah, no, that's fair. There's nothing wrong with that. No. This is the thing is like when you start researching just human behavior and everything and how it functions with everything, you realize how you paint yourself in your own history as well, right? Like just on a personal level. Like I remember hearing an experience from somebody else's perspective when I told it very differently, and I was like, oh, I did not look as good as I thought I did in that situation. You're like, well, I think I need to just go over things a little bit.
Hell, yeah, even if it's just like, what happens at like, a shitty experience you had at a bar with someone, and then they're telling that same experience to someone else, and you were the dick in that. And, I remember, like, look, I'm a schmoozer, right? Like, I like talking with people, having a meal with people, breaking bread, having a couple drinks, smoking, talking, just, I'll make jokes, do a little roasting. It's all good, right? Yeah.
I make sure people feel comfortable around me, just, so the pitchforks and torches don't come out, right? Like, realistically. And there's been a couple times where Victoria has introduced me to friends of hers, and I'm like, she's like, that guy was like, you guys are best friends now. I'm like, I hate that person, and I hope to never see them again. Ever.
That's fun when you're a little too good at schmoozing, and you're like, I didn't really get across.
He found me on the subway going to work. I was reading a book.
Oh, no.
It was a cram subway. I had my book like this.
Yeah.
And then he kept on talking, and I'm like, all right, yeah, you can talk. Sure, man. And I just held my book here, and I'm like, not okay. Yeah.
Not getting the point. Okay.
And I'm like, yeah. I would answer a question like it was a solid end to a conversation, and I'm like, whoop, and he keeps talking again. I'm like, motherfucker, just.
That seems like one of those things where you would get off at the next stop, no matter what it was, wait for the next train, and jump back on, just so you don't have to
I won't be bullied. I won't be bullied, okay?
Oh.
I have to get to work. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
not gonna chance it.
Man, that I can relate to what you're saying, dude. I remember this one time I broke up with a girl, and like, you know, it was kind of rough, but like I did like we lived together, so we got like security deposits, and I did hand her a check for $500 after I broke up with her, and like she was pretty happy after it, I thought. But then, like, upon further recollection, there was way more crying than I remember. It was, you know, I mean, it was maybe like a little bit more awkward than I remember it being, you know, but like, you know, that's just censorship in my own brain, you know, bringing it back to what we're talking about today. We're just censoring ourselves, man.
Or there was I saw this like retelling of the Byzantine Emperor Justinian, and there's this thing where he has the emperor of the Persian Iranian Empire, and from Justinian's point of view, the guy was just being a dick, where he's like, I'm gonna take over a town on your border, burn it down, rebuild it exactly like to scale, like perfectly, all the houses are in the same place, and name it Khosrow's better version of Antioch.
Yeah.
As a fuck you, go swim in the Mediterranean as a fuck you, and then leave. And then when you see it from Khosrow's point of view, it's Justinian keeps like encroaching on his territory, and then he's like, all right, if you're gonna be like that, I'm gonna go full trollsmanship on you. And then
full trollsmanship.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm curious about this because we wanted to talk about censorship a little bit. How do you guys feel about like the high profile deplatformings of people like Alex Jones, or there's another guy like really like these like prominent, like a lot of times like right wing figures or whoever, just people that like have an online presence but they like have controversial opinions or whatever, they're spreading misinformation and then they get deplatformed. Is that censorship, or is that like justified in like protecting people from being exposed to misinformation?
You want to go first?
Well, I can. Like, in all honesty, there's a certain degree of censorship that is a must in any civilized society. I think that's right. The problem is that's not the point that people are making. People aren't making that. People aren't taking a stand saying, no, for the betterment of society, we have to not let this person speak, right? Mm-hmm. What people are doing right now in time is going, I didn't like what he said, so he shouldn't be allowed to talk, which you're like, that's no. That's specifically what free speech was created for, right? Just because you don't like what somebody says, you don't have to listen, and you don't have to interact with that person. But we're seeing in an age like it's very chicken or the egg in my mind, is because we've been guided to respect the media. We've been guided to listen to people who are loudest. You know, kind of, we've been trained that the squeaky wheel gets the grease because the squeaky wheel deserves the grease, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But now that's kind of becoming counterproductive to the we're all together and doing something, you know? So, you know, on that side, you're going, well, hold on, you've been grooming us to listen to these types of people, but now that they're saying stuff that you don't want us to know, you're going to be like, it's not the same. Like, there's a certain point where Hitler was a prideful German and then not.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like, everyone's like, whoa. And you're going,
everyone figured out what it means to be proud to be a German on that day.
Yeah. Well, you know, great cars.
Be an American.
Right? But that's you're staying going, hold on, there's freedom of speech, and then there's, no, we have to step in to protect society so we don't go back to unrestrained violence, obviously, right?
Yeah.
That's my idea on it, right? So it's a tough perspective. And you want to be the part of the solution, but at the same time you're going, that's bullying. It's not fair to just, no, you don't get to say. You're like, why not? Because you're wrong. Says you. That's not a thing. That's an opinion, and it should be valid just like the other thing, right?
Okay, so the way I see it is for someone like Alex Jones or, uh, you know, a
Milo
lot of
Yiannopoulos or like
Diamond Himself, shit like
Stefan,
that.
whatever.
So they were advocating for something that involved, the extermination and the disenfranchisement of other people,
Yeah.
which I think should not be given a platform.
Yeah.
True.
That's one thing that makes Joe Rogan so frustrating is he's platforming these people in the interest of let's hear out both sides, which is like I understand the spirit of wanting to do that, but you can't. Tolerance has a point where you're just letting intolerance gain ground, and eventually they will hurt other people.
Yeah.
And another thing is that platforms like Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, etc., are private companies and are not. They don't have to give you any like.
True. Well, that's fair.
They have a user agreement. You violate the user agreement, they kick you off. That's just how it works. Every time they change the user agreement, there's a thing that goes, here's the new user agreement. Now, granted, it's really long and kind of unreadable and very frustrating to read. So I'll give you that.
On that point, and this is where like I have a direct issue with that, where it's like, yes, those are private companies and they can do whatever they want. There's no question there. What they should, and I feel like this is everyone should be held accountable at a certain point where everyone has to be treated with the same rules and it shouldn't be impacted because you don't like so like let's be honest, right? Alex Jones is very easily to hate. He's easily hateable, right? No question.
He was cyberbullying the parents of.
No, he's a piece of garbage, right?
He's a piece of shit and totally deserved to lose that case. And
fair. And that's where you're going. Listen, we're not. The idea that these companies can, they have a user agreement, and that's fair, is very true. Are they imposing those rules equally? I don't think so.
Not.
Right?
They definitely give people who get more views and thus get more, advertisers and stuff more ground to do shitty right wing stuff. So,
it's a weird thing, and that's why you're like censorship as a whole is something that.
Also, another thing about canceling is that it's not like they're not destitute for the rest of their life. They just lose the platform they want. I will give you an example. Louis C.K., who has been canceled by the comedy community. He does not have his FX show anymore. The respect given to him by us as comedians is with an asterisk next to it. We're just like, yeah, he's a good comic, but he did a shitty thing. It's not. He's not in jail. He's not. But he's still touring. He's still getting audiences.
Yep.
Now, does he deserve those things because he did shitty things to women? Kind of no, but he's getting them.
Well, this is the thing: is can you actually stand and say, you know what? Because you did a shitty thing at one point in time, which you have not been charged with any criminal offense, but we don't agree with it. You shouldn't have the ability to feed your family. Obviously, he's fine, right? Yeah. He's got more than enough money, but. Right, what we're saying is that, because you did something we don't agree with, even though it wasn't against the law and no one's charging you, right? Like, how is it reasonable, right? Like, and I'm not saying that you're wrong. What I'm saying is, how can you pose that and say, you shouldn't be allowed to provide for your life? You shouldn't be able to, like, how do you guide that?
He's still able to provide for his family. But he also didn't show any remorse for it, and I think that's what a lot of people were hoping for, and that he didn't get. But also, he suffered consequences. He was he was deplatformed. He's not as famous as he once was.
Sure.
He will have an asterisk next to his name forever, and I think that's like
Scarlet Letter. Okay.
Yeah, he's got the Scarlet Letter, and
was that okay though? Right?
Was that okay to get the Scarlet Letter, or was that okay in terms of
No, having a Scarlet Letter, is that an okay thing? I don't think that's fair because it's a time, right? Like it's how do you're branding someone forever because of well, realistically, and I, this is gonna. Damn,
Okay.
I look like shit in this episode. It's fine.
I know.
My insides are as gross as my outsides. People, let's go with that. No, but it's like, how can you? It's his situation, while unique, is that if he could never do comedy ever again, right?
Mm-hmm.
His resources are still ample, and he will enjoy the comforts that he's gained through his fame and comedic career, right?
Yeah.
But realistically, because remember, no laws broken. He was unapologetic, which I personally always laughed at his comedy because of how unapologetic it was.
He was, yeah. Right? But again, that's not comedy though. That's things he did to women made them feel uncomfortable.
Well, it made me feel like when a dove cries, I'm like, oh, that's how it is. Oh, okay. You don't have to. You can be a horrible person on the inside and be okay. It's nice.
I didn't know doves actually cried. I just thought that was a Prince song and that was it.
Yeah, that's the reference.
Oh. Okay.
Come on, man. Seriously?
I thought it was literally a thing that doves do that I just.
No, it's the I
know. I get it.
I literally used that. I was talking to somebody who was like, we had the same opinion on something, and I'm like, this is what it's like when doves cry. He's like, oh, okay. But it was funny, right? Because we're both heterosexual men, but that's how we used to joke.
This is just going to be called "We're Old" the episode. That's what this is. That's
generations. Eventually, we will be old in doing this. I was thinking about this the other day. You know how in like Rolling Stone songs, they were a thing in the like 60s and 70s. They were young, they were virile, they were doing songs about fucking, and they were young, and it was awesome. But now they're in their 70s and still doing those songs, and it's a little weird, isn't it?
Listen, shout out to Mick Jagger because he looks incredible. No question there. But at the same time, guy, you're old and gross. Like, stop.
You should probably stop doing those. Now, I was thinking. So my girlfriend and I love the band Group Love. You guys know Group Love?
That's a unique name. I do not.
It's like the thing that you like. You have to wear pineapple earrings to get into, or
kind of. Take me to your best friend's house. That song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, they do a lot. They do a lot of songs about being like young in your like late teens, early 20s, and you're like, oh, I'm so in love, like young love and stuff like that.
Dumb love, yeah. Go on.
So like, there's a song that starts with, "Remember that night when we hit a red light and you pulled up next to me? We were two young cats feeling under attack, just making out in the street." Now, imagine them doing that in about 5 decades. Isn't that kind of fun? Yeah, so they're just going to be like doing that, and I cannot wait for that to happen. Have that be my, like, when I was your age, this was the band that I was really into. This was my Rolling Stones.
It's Group just Skrillex.
Why would they know what your Rolling Stones are? They don't know what the Rolling Stones are.
Old Skrillex is going to be fucking hilarious. I can't wait for that. That like, just...
Same hair, gray. It'll be great.
Yeah, no.
It'll be like sparkly.
So he's just going to look like fucking Corey Feldman does now?
Oh, God.
Exactly like Corey Feldman does right now. Which, that poor guy, you know what? Like, man, I feel for him because he's gone through so much, but at the same time, you're going, hey, man, maybe just behind closed doors. I don't know. We got nothing, man.
I'm just waiting for when he inevitably considers a run for president, like every other fucking celebrity has, and then
governor's
good. Governor. But there's like a song on Family Guy where it's like, we're not too far from voting Feldman Hames. Just cannot wait for that because he will eventually, and someone will be like, "Ha ha!"
Family Guy predicts the future now. Yeah, for sure. No,
I mean, I'd vote for Corey Feldman to be governor of Delaware or whatever the fuck. Where do you think he'd run? Rhode Island?
I mean, where's he from? Because I feel like he would only be electable in his native state. Where is
L.A.? But no, you can't. Listen, you can't go Reagan as a governor, then Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was great, and then Feldman. You're like, whoa, that's a...
Oh, he's from Reseda.
Curve.
So he'd have to do governor of California, and that'd be...
wow.
I don't think there are enough people in California that support him. Let's be honest. California's pretty mean. Okay.
Yeah, we are.
Have you heard his music?
No, I haven't.
Corey Feldman's?
Air live on... Somebody sent me the video. Oh, man.
He has an album. He has an album on streaming platforms. You can listen to it, dude.
Oh, no. It was... You know what?
If you want to
He's
listen
got a lot
to
of passion. He's got a lot of
got
passion.
a lot of passion.
And I
Kid's
think
got a lot of heart.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. But I think he needs a better outlet, maybe. Or
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's like
Milli Vanilli that shit. I don't know.
It's kind of like if Michael Jackson had to poop really bad during like the dubstep era. That's what Corey Feldman sounds like.
Yeah, but like if Michael Jackson had to poop.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's accurate.
That's Corey Feldman.
Yeah, and the dance moves. Not even for Times Square. Like, this is not. Yeah, no, they're not good. They're not good. I feel for the guy because he wants to do something, but at the same time, you're like, nobody wants to do anything, man. Just play video games. Go home, like start a Twitch account. Let's do that.
Yeah, just start streaming, dude.
Just start streaming.
Start streaming, Corey.
You'll find your audience.
If Snoop Dogg can leave a stream running for 8 hours and not even be in the frame, you can do whatever you want, Corey.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about that. Should we do like a stream or something where we, I don't know, play a video game or whatever?
I've definitely do a co-stream.
I've wanted to do that for the longest time. I just don't know how to do. I know, Caleb, you have a Twitch account. I was going to ask you questions afterward, but apparently that's where this conversation has led. So,
hey man, generations.
This is why you got a Zoomer in the house, dude.
Yeah.
These are the kinds of people that you need answering these kind of questions. I'm a Silicon bro. I got my dildo ready and my laptop's open. I'm ready to get spicy.
Oh yeah, we were talking about this off mic before the episode, but I was thinking about so Silicon Valley culture is being more and more of a thing over time. Now I'm thinking in a couple of in a generation or two, in a few decades, whatever, there is going to be a kid who is raised as by a Silicon Valley bro and his wife.
Yes,
already I think. Already,
it's already happening.
I'm sure it's starting to happen. Whatever. Elon Musk name his kid, but I want like a Hallmark-esque movie where the kid doesn't want to be like a Silicon Valley bro. He's like, Dad, that was your dream. That wasn't my dream. I don't know. I don't want to get my allowance in Bitcoin. I want cash.
No, he wants to start an artisanal butter churning group that travels the country. That's what he wants.
Yeah, just call it like Silicon Mountain.
So he ends up like gentrifying like a neighborhood in like South Chicago, and in a way he just ends up exactly like his dad, just like in a different way, and that's kind of the whole like tie around of the movie, dude.
Exactly. And then Caleb brought up
that's winning Oscars.
Or it's like an allegory for coming out, where it's like I don't want to live in Silicon Valley or Silicon Beach or wherever the Silicon is.
He's going from
I want to be a teacher.
Silicon, not silica.
I said Silicon. Silicon Beach, Silicon. Silicon Beach, Silicon Valley. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Isn't silica the stuff that you eat, like that comes with the shoes or whatever?
You don't eat that.
No, you don't. Caleb, don't eat that.
Oh, what?
No.
Why not, dude?
I just imagine you at like a boba shop or whatever.
Makes your piss like fucking sparkling water, bro.
Oh my God. I just imagine you at like a boba shop and you're like, did I get silica gel in that? They're like, that's boba. It's tapioca. And no, you can't.
Bro, I eat silica beads so I can cum boba. That's why I do it.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but Generation Dan now comes with a do not swallow warning.
Not for the Canadian edition. Go for it.
Oh my God.
The Zoomer in America needs a do not swallow warning, apparently.
Yeah.
I never learned my lesson with it.
We'll let you figure it out.
Come on. I figured silica gel would definitely have been a Canadian thing.
Oh, no. We have it. But, listen, if here, it's very stretch or starve in Canada. That's why we keep the population low. There are people who hunt the homeless. It's actually totally true.
Oh, wow.
Seriously?
No. Obviously not. It's because it's cold as shit up here.
Give motherfuckers.
It's just called Most Dangerous Game, eh?
most dangerous game, eh? Yeah. Hoser. It's hosers on ice.
Oh my God.
That's the thing is, like, you know what? Only when I talk to Americans, people are like, hey, say that again. And I'm like, what word was it? I don't say new dude about it. That's not.
How are you doing now, bud?
Yeah. Hey, bud. That's crazy out there, eh?
Hey, bud.
Yeah.
Quantum in a witch's tit outside, bud.
That's an accurate statement. Very descriptive. Very descriptive. And we're coming up to that season very soon.
The pectoral muscles can cut fucking diamonds, bud.
Oh, that is perfect, Letterkenny. That's great. I love that. That's the thing is, as soon as you leave the Greater Toronto area, like say an hour out of the city, there are people that will talk like that, right? Like it is, but it's just they're just hicks. But that's the thing is, like, you know how in the States where you have like a really big city, then nothing, then a little town and a little town, and you're like, these are not connected? They're right next door, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like in Toronto, it just goes and goes and goes, and then just everything becomes shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter, and then trees, right? That's how it happens, right? But that's why you're like, it's quite far. Like I grew up in the suburbs of Toronto, and now I live in Toronto proper, right? So it's very different. But yeah, you don't have to travel too far until you hear some guy going, quite a crazy one out there today, eh, bud?
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
Hey, man, in between the bright lights and the far unlit unknown. That's subdivisions.
Such a nerd.
Okay, I need to hire somebody. Every time I make a Rush reference, they punch me in the arm.
You make a lot of Rush references? Is this a thing
I do.
that you do?
I really do. I'm a huge Rush fan.
Man,
I'm Canadian. I'm like, Rush is a Canadian band. I'm like, oh yeah, cool, yeah, okay. Yeah. Half the stuff he says, I'm like, huh, what? He's like, Rush, and I'm like, okay,
no,
sure.
It's just I like them a lot. They're my favorite band. I'm sorry.
There's nothing wrong with that, sir.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong.
Although I know that like early in their thing they were like really kind of Ayn Randy. I'm like, I don't know.
I don't need that type of Rush.
Ironically, in the 80s, when the entire decade was kind of Ayn Randish, they were just like, no, that's not us anymore. But everyone assumes like up to 2112, they're like, that's what they're like. That's not who they were most of their history. So I'm not really sure why I'm telling anybody this. They don't care. You don't care, listener.
We're going to hashtag this Rush.
Yeah.
This Rush album.
You're gonna have a little thing at the bottom, the hashtag Rush.
Why not?
Christ.
I'll put it in the tags. Don't worry, that's fine. It's just a clip. This is why Atlas loves Rush.
I know people are going to be hearing this after New Year's, but we're recording this before Christmas, which means, how was your Thanksgiving? Not you, Dino. You're Canadian. How was your Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it was a great time to just reflect. We opened a textbook and we read about how everyone held hands back in the 1876 or whatever, and we got to reminisce about our country's true and accurate history.
Right, and they're just like, wait,
16, whatever the fuck.
Swanton told the English how to grow corn, and that was it. We're done. Put fish in the ground. Yeah. Yeah,
so I played charades with my sister, which was very confusing.
Oh yeah.
I also well, here's the deal, man. You know, there's a very limited frame of reference for an 11-year-old, so I'm trying to act out Finding Nemo in like 4 different ways because that's the only like scope that she has, and I don't, it just gets kind of frustrating after a little while trying to figure out how you can like do Lion King with like just your hands and no arms. It's surprisingly harder than you might think it is.
Well, you can do sounds like whatever, right?
I feel like your game of charades had a lot more crying than normal people's charades.
Well, I don't know.
There's a lot more crying and there's a lot less clothes at my charades games. Let's say that. Not this Thanksgiving though. This Thanksgiving we kept it nice and PC. But like usually when we get down with the boys,
oh yeah,
we're just like helicopter.
Yeah. When I was a kid,
every other card is Bangkok.
Yeah. When I was a kid, there was a charades game where my cousin put in the last Mimsy. I'm still mad about it, like 15 years later. But how the fuck do you do last Mimsy? What's a Mimsy? I don't know. Like I was trying so hard to do last, where I was like, this one, the last one, and then
they're like 7.
And then afterward, they're like, you could do sounds like fast. I'm like, go fuck yourself. All right.
You wanted me to try to explain rhyme to you in pantomime?
Yeah.
You know what, though? You have to admit, some people are very good at it. And some people are completely horrible.
I don't know. I haven't done it in a long time, but there's that one cousin who just like the person goes, and then they go hydroponic form, and they're like, yeah, you got it. You're like,
that is very tricky. So like I have always been very hyped up on my nonverbal communication to my significant other forever. Like that's a huge thing for me. And a lot of times Victoria gets it, but it took a long time where I'll be like, and she's like, okay, we're going. And I'm like, thank you. Time to go. That's why.
Starting to communicate in looks, and that's.
Hey, you know what? It's important, and that's where I'm like, there's sometimes in charades, I'll make a reference to like a conversation we've had like 6 months ago, and she'd be like, "I know what that is," and I'm like, "Perfect,
nice.
There we go."
That's
do not mess with a woman's memory; she will destroy you.
That is an RTD right there, ride till death.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, that's kind of forced upon her. I'm like, I ain't signing shit. You don't have enough people here to lift me out of the place, so I'm staying, whether you like it or not.
So how was your Thanksgiving, Atlas?
I went to Austin, Texas with my girlfriend because her friend lives in Austin, and the friend and the boyfriend just bought a house, so they're super excited to do Friendsgiving at a house. The entirety of the boyfriend's family came, so for most of the dinner, it was me, Katie, her friend, and her friend's parents getting collectively third wheeled by the boyfriend and his extended family. So they were just like, "Oh, remember when we went to the lake?" I was like, "I met you 40 minutes ago. I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about."
Nice, dude. You feel like a waiter at your own Thanksgiving.
Kind of. But it wasn't even my own Thanksgiving. I already felt like an outsider. But I felt like an outsider. There was 2 tiers of outside.
If you had any doubt, we're going to tell you. You are definitely the outsider. That's fantastic.
Oh my god. It was fun, though. I had a good time. The food was really good. And then
did you guys cook? Did they cook like a turkey or?
Yeah, they did a turkey and pies and stuff and gravy, stuffing, all that good
the
stuff.
Staples.
Yeah.
That's that
the
good,
staples,
dude.
The office superstore of food.
Here's the thing, though. Turkey can suck on the cold, dry dick that it is, because I fucking can't stand turkey anymore. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of trying to adhere to this stupid tradition that means nothing. It's baseless in all of society, and it doesn't mean anything to anybody. Okay? What is it, American to eat turkey? What is it, like colonial to eat turkey? I thought these were things that we were trying to avoid from the past America. When are we going to wake up and realize that turkey is just a cold and dark symbol of hatred and it's terrible and we should be eating steak instead?
It's not a terrible idea. I mean, turkeys are native to North America, so I think that's why kind of, but whatever.
We got cows.
I really feel like I should bleep out every other word in that little rant, just as a censorship thing. Because let's make turkey the bad word, and it'll be. I think they can work.
It's gonna be like in like if you watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles on network TV, and they gotta censor the like little tirade he has at the car rental.
Definitely.
I think I'm gonna do that just for the funsies.
Well, let's be honest. Like, Caleb sounds like a guy who was like, you know what? This is my first Thanksgiving on my own. I'm gonna make a turkey, and then he realized he had turkey leftovers for like a month and a half, and was like, I hate turkey. Turkey's the worst. Turkey should die. You know, and you're like, yeah, that's fair.
I'm trying to get more people into the idea of the unorthodox, staple for Thanksgiving. Like my friend, he lives in San Francisco. He couldn't find a turkey because he procrastinated. So they made beef stew instead, and I was like, "That's fucking awesome! I want to do something like that."
And beef stew will last a lot longer, and you can add cheese to it when you reheat it.
Yes,
just a little nod to that. Fun.
It was definitely a good idea. I almost got Katie into the idea of sushi, like just for 1 year, like just.
Oh, that's an LA thing, you bastard.
That is very much an LA thing. But I
turkey
just
sushi.
Try it once. No, not turkey sushi, just sushi. Get sushi as your Thanksgiving dinner. No, too weird.
That's so. No, you can do it. You're an adult. Nobody's going to stop you from having cake for dinner. You can do whatever you want, man. That's the best part. But realistically, he just looked around for cake.
No, nobody's just not. Well, no, I was thinking like, can I show them my butt? Because that's technically that's me doing whatever I want to. But
and that's showing that you got cake.
I mean, I did show. I told you that. I told you guys the story of like me accidentally showing an entire audience my butt, right?
I don't think so. I haven't heard this.
I don't think so.
All right, so I have this bit where I talk about how I wish butts were as useful in comedy as they were in music. Where in a music video, even if you're not that good of an artist, you just have hot girls, dancing and showing their asses, right?
Fair.
Makes it a lot more watchable. But I was like, I wish if I was bombing, I could do this, and then I'm supposed to turn around and pull just my pants down to like my thighs, so you see my underwear. But this time at this show, I accidentally grabbed my underwear, so I showed the audience my butt.
Accidentally, right? You're yeah.
No, literally
Oops,
accidentally.
Goes to one Bobby Lee show, and he's like, I guess I gotta get naked.
And then some people were disgusted. Some people thought it was hilarious. And then I apologized profusely to the host afterward because I was like, I didn't mean to show my actual butt. It's just my underwear.
Dude, last week on when I did the stay-at-home show, the one guy we had was from New York, and at one point he wanted to show a tattoo that he has on his ass. This is great. And then he sat down. So he did that. He showed one cheek. You saw like a soft crescent. Okay,
Yeah.
you didn't see the
Soft
whole
crescent.
right. A soft crescent.
Yeah.
But then mostly it was on just the one cheek, and then he pulled his pants up. He goes, "Yeah, I did that on another show the week before, but I showed the wrong side. So and then in the end, I just mooned them. Like that's it." And I'm like, yeah, that sounds like that could happen to anybody. But I know, Atlas, you're like, I accidentally pulled down my underwear. You're like, yeah, whatever. You planned it weeks in advance. You're like, I'm going commando that day.
I've done the joke successfully before. I've done it at other shows, and it gets a big laugh. But it's like,
he's like, how can I kick this up a notch?
No, I didn't. And also, the other problem is after I do the bit, I can't stand there like wrestling, zipping up, buttoning up, doing the belt and all that stuff. So I'll just kind of leave it unbuttoned and you can't move for the rest of the set. So I can't do any jokes that involve walking or pantomiming anything. You just have to stand still. So it's one of those things where like, okay, if you're doing this, the rest of it has to be tied to not moving and just talking.
Do you tuck your shirt into your pants?
I do not.
Then why don't you just wear suspenders underneath your shirt?
That's an idea.
So a lot of times suspenders are worn over your shirt, but there are a lot of people that will wear it underneath their shirt because they're like, I'm not tucking my shirt in, so it keeps my pants up, especially guys with the guys who look like they're pregnant forever.
Yeah.
That my dad's gut was like that. It was just like a dome.
Yeah.
It was just, mine's all weird. But for it is, it's fine. I go really in and then out again. It's very
where it's not.
I have the worst hourglass figure ever.
It doesn't look
like
bad.
a
It's like a funhouse mirror kind of thing, right?
Yeah. But if you just wear suspenders, like even my dad would wear them like with Bermuda shorts in like when he would go to Greece. He's like, yeah, because you know what, it causes discomfort in your stomach and everything like that. So you just wear it and just float them right there. It's almost like clown pants, like where they have the clown pants stick out really far, but it's got the suspenders holding them up, except for normal size.
That's an idea. Okay, so I have this hatred of tucking in my shirt just in general. Yeah, that's a Silent Generation and Greatest Generation stuff right there, though. Your dad, yeah. So when I was a kid, I went to a private elementary school, and in that school, the uniform was like a collared shirt with the school's logo on it, and then you had to wear short, kind of either shorts or pants of navy blue color. And you were supposed to tuck in your shirt. Now, none of the kids did it because we were, 8 or whatever.
Rebels.
But the headmaster, his favorite thing in the world, and he's dead now, so fuck you, Mr. Mashad, would walk around the school. His favorite thing was walk around at recess, tucking your shirt, tucking your shirt, tucking your shirt. And kids would be like, fine, but also fuck you, Mr. Mashad.
That's fair.
So it's I have like just this like visceral hatred of people. You're like, you have to tuck in your shirt for this. You should.
Damn, you got like.
Yeah.
That's PTSD level stuff, man.
Yeah.
Like,
that and just suits in general because I associate them with lawyers. And as we all know, parents went through an 8-year divorce. So, yeah, suits and tucking in your shirt can suck all the lemons.
Yeah, you know what, though? If you wear a nice tailored suit, it feels like a suit of armor. Like, seriously.
Does it?
Yeah. So I went... we went to Hong Kong early in our relationship for Victoria to visit Victoria's family and everything. It doesn't matter the reason. But while we were there, we actually got a couple. So Shanghai tailors used to be the top tailors in the world. And now it's kind of between Shanghai and Italy where they'll put a suit together and stuff, right? A lot of fabric comes from Southeast Asia just in general because that's how things have worked out over the last 60 years where it's all focused there and it gets shipped everywhere, but it's put together in different areas, right? So I had a few tailored suits, which I'm still a little too big to wear, but I have one that's actually too big because I got it when I was at my fattest.
Mhm.
But like a tailored suit, you put it on and it gives you superpowers. Like, but you got to get like mine's like a 3-piece suit with like French cuffs on the shirt. On the inside, it says Dino the Genetic Marvel. Like it's badass. Like it's very fancy. But
so do you get like real stretchy, or like do you like get really big and like strong, or like?
No, I just get overly confident, and I definitely look dangerous. Like people will just part ways. I have a tuxedo, and that does wonders. I walked into a club. I walked up to the doorman. He's like, "Oh, sorry, sir." The doorman got out of my way, and I just walked in. Everyone's like, "What the fuck?" It went, yeah. It was,
okay, well now you have to wear the suit on an episode at some point. Now, like it's got to happen. Yeah,
I can do that. Yeah,
okay, yeah, at some point.
I'm telling you though, is number one. It's a totally different experience for me, like sitting in a suit and talking, because number one, those are my professional financial planner years where I'm like, well, let's talk about your retirement and what your plan is for your life. Let's see how things are going to work out. My job here is to
401k. Financial buzzwords.
I hated those.
Circle back.
Roth IRA.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Canadian, none of those things. But you guys get the picture. Same thing.
See, like synergy is something that
I know what synergy is. You ass face.
No. I mean, it's not for you. It's for them. So it's a shitty corporate buzzword for other people. But in trading card games, synergy is used a lot in regards to like how cards work together.
Yes, so synergistically.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, it's got a different meaning to people of that community.
No. It's like a different application. It's the same meaning across the board. Come on, Atlas. You know English.
Fine. Yes, you got me.
Twice in one show. I'm winning. I gotta go buy lottery tickets or something.
Yeah. No, you should. Literally, go buy a lottery ticket, put it on the Twitter, see what happens.
Yeah, I got a new credit card. I'll take pictures of that too, in the back, and put that on Twitter.
The week this comes out, probably. Yeah. So 3 weeks from now, it should. Yeah.
It'd be fantastic. So about censorship, this whole episode's gonna get blocked out.
You're just gonna open up the YouTube video, like just black bar across the screen.
Yeah. We'll just stitch it with other little crazy videos from YouTube and just be like, yeah, so this happened.
There you go.
Everyone's going crazy.
Oh, God. All right. Well, so I guess thanks for listening. I got nothing else.
Sorry our guest couldn't show, but life happens. So
we were kind of hoping he was gonna Kramer his way into the episode, just be like,
hey, what's up, guys?
Yeah. I did it.
I gotta find a way to get sound bites and then make them.
Yeah, no, I've been trying to figure that out too for StreamYard. It's nigh impossible.
I know, but I'm pretty sure I could get it to go through the sound on my, because I got one of them fancy dancy one mics. It's got a little thing that communicates to the computer.
Oh, nice.
I don't know how I know how electricity works, but not how technology works. It's very like I can use technology, but I can't like change technology, and that's very frustrating as an old person.
Wow.
That's
that was deep too.
Okay, call Caleb. He's statistically.
I literally messaged Caleb after he agreed to this. I'm like, hey, I know you have Twitch. I have questions. He's like, well, hopefully I have answers. And I'm like,
we'll find out.
Spirit. Yeah, it's a great spirit to have. This is the whole thing of censorship. Okay, and we can end on this note. Is the specific thing is that you have the ability and right to censor what goes into yourself, right? And when it comes to you've heard people say, my ears are not your toilet. Can you fuck off? Right? Yeah. That is a fair and valid thing. And that's why most interactions do not warrant comment or response. And I feel like that is a good thing that is coming from people standing up to well, let's be honest, people who are acting like some sort of fanatic, right? And that's what we have to balance our communication skills going out, but also receiving information, and that is what can make us better as people. But the idea of stopping people from talk, I don't think is a great long-term viable solution that we can even adhere to. It just builds up pressure like a dam.
And then you're gonna be using everybody's ears as toilets because of how backed up that dam is.
Yeah, because you drank a glass of green tea.
I'm gonna start pissing on everybody.
Oh wait, they didn't hear that was off mic. Damn it. Okay. That was a callback for nobody. That was sorry, everybody.
Yes.
God damn, that's 3. Dino's
That's
up by
3. I am winning today, baby. This is fantastic.
I'm just gonna take the L. Thanks everybody for listening. You can find us on Twitter at Generation Dan. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell a friend, leave a review, all that good stuff. Caleb, where can they find you?
You can find me at Caleb C. McDuff on Twitter. I also stream on Twitch. You can go to twitch.tv/oquiet. It's a little bit hard, but it'll be posted on my socials.
And then the word quiet?
Yep, that's all it is. So here's the thing. Just follow me on my socials. I'll let you know what I'm streaming, and you can just follow, get to that from there.
Yeah, or you can do that thing on the Twitch app where it's like, I want to know when this person's streaming, the little Twitch logo shows up.
Yeah, you could follow me on Twitch. That would be great. We hang out, we play some games. It's a silly goose time. I want you in there. I'm lonely. Please help me. I'm sad.
I have no mouth and I must stream. You can follow me at Atlas Novak on Twitter or Instagram. You can follow my other podcast at Nexus at Nights in those same places. That is about the card game that I play. If you don't like it, I completely understand. And if you want to get into it, give it a try. It's a fun game.
Blue Eyes White Dragon.
No, it's Compass Line is the name
of
the card.
Shit.
Yeah. Dino, if you please.
I'm Dino the Genetic Marvel. You can Google me, and you'll find all sorts of things that I do. Some good, some bad. I'm open to your opinions. But yeah, reach out to all my socials. They're right here. Or just Google this right here, Dino the Genetic Marvel.
And then for people listening, they're just like, I have no idea what the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah. Well, if you should, I feel mad telling them to use their eyes because what if they're podcasts or their thing or they're visually impaired? So I have my socials listed on a background right here.
You just painted yourself into a corner.
I did really well. You know what? I'm a big guy and it's not a small corner, so it's pretty fair. If anything, it's like a dome. But yeah, so I'm Dino the Genetic Marvel. Follow me on socials. I post everything, and big things are coming out from some of the channels and shows I do. So by all means, check them out live on the Eargasm Network and Generation Dan. We do clips all the time. So, and we put them out on our other socials as well. We try and do little short clips. So watch those, laugh at them. You can tell us that we're funny, or you can just leave a like. If you have a different opinion, keep it to yourself because
self-censor.
Yeah, you can do that. So this has been Generation Dan, and have a wonderful rest of the day.
We'll see you next time. Bye.